welcome back, everyone. That was a super quick switch out. Let me make sure that all of our audio levels are good. Joe, you can hear me just fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and in the live chat, I hope you guys can hear me. So, uh, Joe just finished talking with Godless Engineer about the Orchard of Life theory, and Joe, you've been on the show. I think this is your third time, right?
Yep.
Okay, and each time that you've come on, you've had an interesting theory to sort of put forth, and ones that most people, I don't think, either have heard of or subscribe to. For example, like mainly people when you say conspiracies, we're talking aliens, flat Earth, that sort of thing. But the first time that we actually met you, we talked about viruses not existing, and you said that you've switched that up. In how do you say that again now?
I don't make a positive claim, so because I don't want the burden of proof.
Gotcha. So you say that they don't have to exist.
I don't believe they exist until something. Like an atheist with viruses.
Okay. Um, I'm just. This is a side note, but you've been sick, right? Before.
Yeah.
What do you think brings that on?
Probably bacteria. Your
Okay.
immune system shitting the bed on you.
Okay. And then the second time we had you on, you were. It was like a team debate against Trevor on Trevor Valley on fossils, and did dinosaurs really exist? And do you want to state like what your position was on that? Because you were with Christians against dinosaurs, who they don't believe that dinosaurs existed, but you didn't go that far, I don't think. What was your position again?
Well, I've never seen a dinosaur fossil. I've seen Sue. I made a video about Sue, about one of the documentaries, and why I can see that these guys are just. I can tell if somebody's lying or somebody's fake or if something's just a production. Other people can't tell, and I don't know how to prove something to them.
Mm.
How am I going to prove to you something's a production? I can't, but I can see it.
When you say that you're able to see that and most people aren't, what sort of differentiates you between most people? Like, how do you know that you're able to tell the difference?
Because I investigated something for so long, I figured it out. I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but I kind of see through things now.
So I wanted to have, based on that, and tonight, of course, we talked about the Tree of Life versus the Orchard of Life. I sort of did this with Rand Campbell and Russian vids, and this is just a conversation between the two of us about sort of how you've arrived at these positions, and where that sort of stems from. It's not a debate. We're not debating each other. It's just me and you having a conversation, and you can feel free to ask anything that you would like as well. But if I had asked you to say like what things that you're investigating, because you mentioned that you investigate a lot of things. What are you currently investigating? Like, what are some of the things that you're looking into?
I'm looking to move on into like my yard and stuff. But right now it was getting the kinds together for the show, and mostly reality. What's the nature of reality? Existence, nature,
Mm-hmm.
consciousness. I'm investigating consciousness.
What are you finding? What are you finding about consciousness?
Uh, Through my UDV ceremonies I've had in the past year. You know what the UDV is?
I do not.
It's a Brazilian church
Okay.
that drinks the tea ayahuasca. It's legal.
Okay. I know about ayahuasca.
Yeah, and it's legal in the UDV. It's a church. It's
Okay.
completely legal. And trying to figure out how the brain produces consciousness. And I'm thinking that maybe it's just some kind of a constant.
So you like Graham Hancock and Joe Rogan? That's where I learned about it.
I know Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm. You don't know Graham Hancock?
I've heard of him. I don't know.
I think you would like Graham. He is really big on ayahuasca. Have you taken it yet?
Many times, yes. I can't even count.
And what sort of things do you see when you're on ayahuasca? Like, take me through your latest experience with that.
Well, I don't go there no more. It's too far away. I used to live 2 minutes from a UDV church, believe it or not, but now I don't. You drink it, you feel nervous, and all of a sudden, bam, you see geometric figures bleed through your reality. And not only that, you go from thinking like you're kind of dumb, like you don't know anything. You're just in a physical world. Now all of a sudden, bam, you see the truth. Now all of a sudden, it goes away, and you can't tell people. It's kind of like this, man. Everybody sees in black and white. Me and you see in black and white. You drink ayahuasca, you see the color. You're like, shit, this color's here, and it goes away. You're like, I can't prove color exists, but I've used the tool to see it.
So when you say that you see the truth, what did you see? Like, I want to like take me through like specifically what you saw when because when Joe or Graham Hancock talk about it, you know, Joe had a story where he talked about he saw I think it was he believed it was God, but she was a female. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have. Wait. Yeah, I've seen entities, but not as often as like once or twice. Not a female.
What kind of
They're
entities?
hallucinations.
Right.
I've seen like a Hindu figure. I've seen these abstract called the Bardo figures of like what would be represented as Jesus or God, but it's all hallucination.
Okay.
But I would say real life. I would say the physical world everything is a hallucination. Even the physical world is a hallucination.
You believe that now?
Yeah, everything is hallucination.
Okay, so is this reality? Or does a reality exist? Because you touched on simulation theory, and that's sort of what I want to go into next. So walk me through that.
Nobody can actually define what real is. Honestly, they haven't. I would argue that everything that your consciousness perceives is a hallucination, such as dreams, such as ayahuasca experiences, such as awakening state, such as the phases between sleep, REM and all that stuff. Those are all hallucinations. Everything is hallucination. But there is no real. But it's what we call real. And reality is real enough. I'd say it's real enough, but you can't call it real.
And why can't we? Like, what makes it to where we can't determine if this is real or not?
Because it would be just a matter of opinion.
Okay. Switching gears back to this, sort of with simulation theory, what do you think? Are you the type of simulation theorist that believes that this is a simulation that's being run through by a future civilization, that they're going through different? Okay, so tell me what it is exactly that you think is happening. If this is a hallucination, where's that hallucination occurring? You know what I mean? Like, and who's having it?
Okay. Well, for example, I can't tell whether or not you have consciousness or not. I can't verify it, but you could. You might not, though. Your question was, how is this? What's running the simulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that we as humans have dreams, we dream up our own dream, right? So you know how you dream up your own dream? Well, our consciousness hallucinates up its own simulations naturally.
Okay, so if that's the case, my consciousness and your consciousness right now are hallucinating, and so in sync that we're having a conversation. How is that possible?
We're a network of minds, so it's analogous to a virtual reality, a simulation. We could be all having a dream. We could be a part of a dream. We could be a part of a hallucination. You might not even exist for all I know.
So are you a solipsist?
I define solipsism as the stance, not the belief, but the stance that all that can be known is one's own mind.
Okay. So if we are in fact just a hallucination, what is having the hallucination? Like if we're a network of minds, right? That means that something is hallucinating us. If I'm understanding you correctly, like if we're a hallucination, that means that some sort of entity has to be hallucinating in order for us to be a hallucination. So what would that entity be?
Ourselves, our own minds.
Okay, so where are, if that's the case, where are we in terms of like location? If we're a hallucination of ourselves and each person is connected via a network of minds, where are our physical bodies in order to be having these hallucinations?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Um, Consciousness. This is an idea that consciousness is eternal. It's a constant. Do you know what I mean by it's a constant?
I think so.
Like, it's
And
constant.
you can tell me if I'm incorrect, but I make the analogy of instead of consciousness coming from our individual brains, consciousness always exists as a separate entity, and we are like receivers. So we sort of receive consciousness, because it's always there, it's always out there, and we just kind of like Wi-Fi, kind of.
It's like Wi-Fi, but it doesn't have to be coming from out there. It could come from within our minds,
Okay,
not from our brains necessarily.
okay. So if we pass away, that signal's dead, right? So it's not eternal.
Well, if we pass away, then consciousness, as a constant, will start hallucinating other things. Like it might see other things and reincarnate, maybe, or it might just go into the bardo, or it might go into the blackness for a little while. But the consciousness, the perception, what it's perceiving can change,
Okay.
and that's eternal. We're eternal perceivers.
Are you could I would it be correct for me to say that the way that you're looking at things, consciousness is just another term for soul?
Yeah.
Okay, so and you don't believe in like an afterlife, like a religious aspect of it, like there's no heaven, hell. What's your thoughts on that?
I told you what's up there after the afterlife. The bardo, which if you want a video for that, I could show you. It's a 2-minute video.
Yeah.
There could be white, could be black.
Did you do that? Did you do the video? I don't want to get a content strike is the only thing, or is it somebody else's video?
I recorded it from some other YouTube channel.
Okay. You might have to just sort of summarize it. I just don't want to put somebody else's video out there and risk getting a content strike, because unless you know the person that did the video.
No.
Okay.
But the afterlife could be a DMT experience. That whenever we take DMT, we're actually seeing more. We're not hallucinating something that's not there. We could be seeing more. It could be either way. It could be just a fucking chemical reaction. We don't know. But to an individual on a search, it's pretty convincing to an individual.
Okay. What is the word that you said instead of the afterlife? It's the bard what?
The bardo.
Can you spell that for me?
It's like BARDO.
Oh, the bardo. Okay. What is the bardo?
The kind of shit you see in a DMT experience.
Okay, so you just think that once our heart stops and there's no more brain activity, that the spirit or consciousness continues to like hallucinate.
Yep, it's an eternal hallucinator.
Okay, so are we conscious of ourselves once that happens? Like when I die, if my consciousness lives on and continues to create situations, will I still be me, like in this body, like aware that I am, Kyle Curtis, or does that chapter end?
You'll still be the self, but you might be a praying mantis. You might be a shape-shifting machine elf. you'll still have a mind,
or a discount
and you
garden
may not
gnome,
remember. Huh?
or a discount garden gnome. It's a comment somebody called me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
go ahead.
But you'll still be the mind. You'll just be incarnated in something different. Uh,
But I won't have any
but
memories of
there's
me,
just,
right? I won't have any memories of this.
I mean, you might, but I mean, if you took consciousness from one robot to another robot, you're not going to have the same memories. You might have the same. You might have some impressions.
Okay.
You know, you know what? The Hindus call it impressions.
Okay.
You have impressions, but you won't have memories.
Do you have any impressions from any of your former lives before?
No.
Okay, so you don't have any indication of anything that you could have been before, like. Okay.
For all
Uh,
I know I was never had. For all I know, I could just have started my existence here.
okay. So then, how would that consciousness be eternal then?
I don't know. Whenever you're talking about eternal and beginnings, it's mind-boggling. Even with the Big Bang, the Big Bang had to have a start. How many Big Bangs were there before the first Big Bang? Eternal and time is very confusing for the human brain to comprehend.
I would agree with that. It is very hard to comprehend. What sort of, I don't want to say proof or evidence because I don't think that, I think we both can agree that, there's nothing hard that you can point to, but where did this come from with you? Like, where did you sort of start to put all of this together? And are there other people that share your belief, or is this just specific to you?
I'm pretty refined at it, but other people share it. So there's some Hindus, but mine is much more refined. Somebody brought up to me simulation theory on the submarine when I worked on before. I thought it was silly. Then I learned more about it. Got into the UDV. Started listening to reading Hindu books on Maya, the Matrix, and the environment. But there is some evidence. Professor James Gates found computer code and string theory and the double slit experiment. And don't get me wrong with the double slit experiment. People use it to prove their woo. But actual no shit double slit experiment could be explained by simulation theory.
You want to?
But I also came to the conclusion by figuring out the abiogenesis is kind of silly in my opinion.
It's silly.
I think so. Abiogenesis is.
Okay. You and G sort of went through that, so I don't want to. I just want to sort of speak to the conspiracy part. Do you, if I named off some of the world's like leading conspiracies, can you tell me just like in one or two words what your position on them is? Like if you believe them, if you don't, or if they're part of like what you're talking about? Because what I've noticed is a lot of people, like with you especially, you sort of have a blended stance that comes from, that you could say comes from several different aspects. The reincarnation with the Hindus, simulation theory, that sort of thing. So, what about the Illuminati?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, if I look for evidence in Hollywood, I suspect them. I wouldn't push for them.
So, something like the esoteric symbols in Hollywood, the subliminal messaging.
Yeah, but that could just be for entertainment.
Okay. Flat Earth.
No.
JFK.
I have very strong suspicions. It was just fake. I don't believe it. But I'm not going to make it positive. I'm not going to make a positive claim.
I don't believe the JFK story either. So, aliens.
Interdimensional hallucinations of our mind.
Okay. So no actual beings from other planets within our reality.
I'd argue that outer space doesn't have to exist the way we think it is if we're in a simulation.
Okay. Bigfoot.
No. I'm not denying that a Bigfoot could exist.
Sure.
I think the evidence is bad.
Vaccines. What's your view on vaccines?
They can work, but I don't believe in viruses.
Okay. 9/11.
Uh, Decline the state.
Okay. QAnon.
I don't know what that is, but I've heard of it.
Okay. Moon landing.
I don't believe in space.
You don't believe in space.
No.
Okay. I've just got a couple more, and then we'll come back to that. Weather control.
Uh, I don't know, but I would think that the government would try to learn how to figure it out.
And last one. Beyonce being an energy vampire.
No. You forgot chemtrails.
Did I not ask you? That's on my list. I do have chemtrails on here. I may have skipped over that. Chemtrails.
I don't know. I don't think so, but I do wonder why some of those chemtrails last in the sky for a very long time. There's probably an explanation for it, though.
Mick West actually has a really good video on that. You should check it out. But the rest of the ones that I have all deal with space, like the moon landing, Nibiru, Hollow Moon. So I take it you don't believe in any of that stuff. So space doesn't exist. Why doesn't space exist?
It doesn't have to exist in order for us to be here. So you have dreams, right?
Right.
You can look up at the sky in your dream, right?
Right.
I've actually had. I saw the stars. You wake up, the space was never there. From your dream, it was just a dream.
Okay.
It's just a background. Yeah, but there are.
Go ahead.
You can see redshift in the stars. You can see the rocks on the moon. You can see parallax in the stars. You can see the cosmic microwave radiation background in the sky. You can see meteors. I'm not saying space doesn't exist. I'm saying it doesn't have to exist if you're in a simulation. It could be simulated.
So what are we when we send up like rockets, astronauts, probes, satellites? Where is that going?
Well, there's an idea, not my idea. I'm not going to claim this idea. Oh, where are they going? Where the rockets are going?
Yeah, like what's up there? Like the stuff that we're sending up and taking pictures of and studying stars that you can see from down here. Where is that? What is that up there?
The dream sky? A virtual sky, a virtually rendered sky, for example. Like your dream. You look at the sky, you see the dreams. The rockets, if you believe that space is a hoax, I'm not suggesting you do, the rockets could go up and just go into the ocean. NASA's in Florida, so NASA could easily send it into the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay. So I'm trying to help me see if I'm getting this right. I don't want to straw man you, but you think that we are a hallucination as a collective, and as part of the hallucination, we're able to look up and see space, right? But that is a dream that we're having while we're hallucinating.
Yeah, it's a background. It could be real, but it doesn't have to be. Like you have to believe in a Big Bang, a dot exploding into infinite empty space somehow.
Okay.
It doesn't have to have happened.
So who designed that background?
Our subconscious.
So collectively, all of us came up with the same setting and background for the hallucination that we're in.
Well, I can't prove if you guys are or not. I don't know if it's collective.
Well, I mean, like
it's unknowable.
Well, I mean, like for example, if you can, when you see, you're able to see Venus in space, right? It will come in a certain location where you can see that, or Mars. That's another example. But like there are many people across the planet that view that very thing, or like an eclipse. So if we all know that the eclipse is coming and we're all looking up at it, that collectively, for the most part, we all agree is happening at the same time. So how are we able to create that background succinctly, where we're all it's the same thing that's happening?
It's like a virtual reality sky. So how would we all do it collectively?
Right.
Well, we might all just be one in a sense. We might all be part of the same consciousness.
Okay. So you don't like. I'm trying to like. I want to understand like where this comes from for you, like because in certain instances, it sounds like you are like I think you're grounded in what you believe or what your stance is, but it seems like these questions, like about the all seeing the same thing, it almost seems like you're just sort of guessing off the top of your head, and that you don't really have a firm stance on it. So if you're not like if you don't know for certain, how can you put forth an answer for it when it could be what we what at least me I think is like actual reality, and that we are separate beings? How would we come to terms with who's right in this case?
Uh, by deducing the facts, for example, you think this is reality, and say, what is reality made out of? You say it's made out of atoms. What are atoms made out of? Protons. What are protons made out of? Quarks. What are quarks made out of? Charge. Like, what is this place made out of? I don't have answers to, like, for example, if we're all collectively hallucinating, or if it's just me. I don't have all the answers because it's unknowable. Like, I don't know things. Like, I don't know what route my wife took to the store and got milk, but I know she brought me home some milk. I don't know what route. So I don't know, but I do know that I'm consciousness, and I'm perceiving my environment. That's all I really know.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't you ask your wife, or she show you like a GPS where it? I mean, there are ways to prove that.
It's a minor detail, though.
It is a minor detail, but I'm just making the point that the hallucination thing, I'm just trying to understand, because I've never heard this before, and a hallucination is something that is occurring to someone, right? So in order for a hallucination to exist, a person has to be hallucinating, right?
Or a mind. Or a mind.
Or a mind, yes. So
whether it's disembodied or not.
How would a disembodied mind hallucinate?
Die.
Okay, but you're just saying that that's a separate issue. But like right now, assuming that we're not dead, a mind, and we know that minds are in our heads. So a mind is
localized.
So it's in someone, right? So if I'm a hallucination, who is hallucinating me?
You're the constant. Yourself. Your consciousness. Your consciousness is the center of the universe in this model.
Right. That's the conduit by which is causing the hallucination. But that mind, as you said, has to be localized somewhere.
It has to be incarnated into a reality. Even in your dreams.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but we both agreed that a mind has to hallucinate, right? Like that is what hallucinates. So where is the location of my mind right now?
What we have an illusion that's localized in your brain.
So that's not true.
No.
So how do we know it's even a mind? It could be something completely different, right?
Consciousness itself.
Yeah.
You think it's not reduced? You don't think it's irreducible as you don't think consciousness is irreducible as it is?
No. What I think is, like, when you said that it's a mind that hallucinates, right? You then say that it's we can't be, or that we think up the fact that the mind is inside of your head, right? Or it's inside of a person. We can't be sure of that. So how can we be sure it's a mind at all that's even hallucinating? I mean, how can you be certain that either you're different entities or all of us are the product of one entity? How do you test that?
It's unknowable.
Okay.
Until you probably die. You might. We're in a simulation, and like a virtual reality simulation right now. We're playing The Sims. We probably won't know the true answers to ourselves until we disincarnate.
So why do we have to be in a virtual reality? Like, why can't it be just as boring as that the story that science tells us now? Like, what? Why can't that be the way
Oh,
that it is?
okay. Science story is a good story, uh,
Okay.
but I would argue that the Big Bang, the consciousness worldview, the materialistic Big Bang, the consciousness worldview, I would argue it's a cover story for the illusion. It's a cover story for the simulation. First, you have nothingness. That nothingness turns into a singularity. The singularity explodes, creates outer space. The Earth forms
Hmm.
with gravity, wherever that came from. Then abiogenesis. Then bacteria emerge from sterile mineral water through some mysterious chemical processes. That bacteria evolves into humans, and then humans got brains, so then we get consciousness. I don't think consciousness fits into that model. I think we could be humans without consciousness, just if we're just chemical reactions.
Okay. So you said something interesting that's the Big Bang was a cover story for the illusion. Who created that cover story?
Our minds.
Why would our minds do that?
I don't know. Why do our minds dream at night? It just automatically does it. If you put a man in a cave or a sensory deprivation chamber or in a dark cave long enough, they start to hallucinate.
Sure.
It just naturally happens.
Right. But we can point to the man being the person that has the hallucination. What I'm trying to figure out is, if we're hallucinations, what is, what are we the hallucinations to?
Would it be easier for me to describe you as we are gods and gods having a dream? Would that make more sense?
No,
'Cause
let's go with that. If we're gods, where are we at? Like, where is our godlike being at?
You're trying to say within 3D time and space. 3D time and space might be an illusion. Like in your dream, is there any space in your dream? Do you have you can see a dog over here and a cat over there? Is there space in your dream? That space is made up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's dreams are different, and I can't remember most of mine. But why, if we're gods dreaming, why are we always dreaming? And when are we awake? And what's reality like for us when we're not hallucinating?
I can only tell you that if God has having a reality, he has different perceptions. So whatever God could perceive, whether it's the Bardo, whether it's black, whether it's white, whether it's the spirit realm, whether it's physical reality, whether it's a dream, whatever God's doing, as he's perceiving something, whatever it is.
Okay, is it one God or many gods?
That's unknowable, and I don't believe in God, but I'm just trying to make it easier for you to understand.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm just wondering if we're the hallucination of one entity, or a collective hallucination of many different entities.
It's unknowable.
Okay.
It's a minor detail. It's a minor detail.
Why a hallucination? Like, where is that stemming from, and what causes the hallucination? Because that's, here in what I call reality, that's an abnormal trait. Like, if somebody is hallucinating, that's a sign of something, an outside force, or a mental state that has been affected. So,
Do you know the term Maya? Maya?
like the people, the civilization.
No. Maya is a Hindu term for the Matrix.
Oh, okay, that's why your channel is virtual Maya. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking virtual, like Mayas, like the Mayans.
Okay, no.
I got you now. Okay, go ahead.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Maya.
What was your question?
If what was my question? I just slipped my mind. We were talking about the different beings. Like, what's the cause of the hallucination? Because with us as we are, that's a sign of something irregular.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. Well, consciousness may be acausal. Do you know what I mean by acausal? Without a cause. So maybe consciousness didn't have a beginning. It's like beyond time. It doesn't have a beginning. Time is hallucination. So your question is, What?
Is what is the root cause? Okay, for example, under normal circumstances, in what I call reality here,
Oh,
people
hallucination. Okay.
people who are like healthy and normal, don't have any whether it be they're not on any drugs or they're not isolated in a situation, just on a baseline regular, for the most part people don't normally hallucinate. That's brought on in,
Yeah. I remember
it's
where I was
called
going with it.
schizophrenia. Okay.
I remember where I was going with it now. Uh, the Hindus have the word Maya, which is everything is a hallucination by default. There's no such thing as real. It's just we call the physical reality real because we're convinced by it. But whenever you analyze the matter, you find out it's not made of anything at all but charges. So somebody having schizophrenia, if it's real to them, it's a hallucination. But I don't know what they see.
Right, but that calls what they're seeing is a result of them having schizophrenia. So whatever is hallucinating us,
Okay, I got it.
what
I
is the
got it.
cause of that?
There are different types of hallucinations. There's dreams. There's what you call the physical reality. There's the afterlife, Bardo. These are different types of hallucinations. This one just we're convinced by it. Now, you want to know what's causing that hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it didn't have a cause. It's acausal. It's eternal. It's a constant. It's hard to comprehend because everything has to. You could always say that something came before that. That whole thing between beginning and end, A to B, it could just be a mental construct of ours. I have a hard time comprehending eternity, except for I could comprehend eternity when I'm drinking ayahuasca. That's when I can comprehend it. Other than that, I can't comprehend it.
Did you discover this when you drank ayahuasca, or is this something, or did you go to ayahuasca because of this? Like, which came first?
Because of it. Because of it.
Okay, and I assume that you verified it when you took the ayahuasca.
I wouldn't say it was confirmation biased. I would say it was an eye opener more.
No, I'm not saying that it was a confirmation bias. I'm saying that when you took ayahuasca, was what you saw in line with what you thought before? Like, did those two things line up?
Yeah.
Okay, are there other people that feel this way?
I'm probably unique.
So you don't know anybody else that believes this way?
No, I spent my whole life trying to figure out the secrets to the universe.
Okay.
And people call me psychotic or whatever. I don't think I'm psychotic. I just got a different philosophy.
So I don't think you're psychotic either. I just think you have a very unique look on things. So if you're the only one that thinks this way, why you? Like, if we're a hallucination, why is Joe/Stephanie the one that knows what's up?
I'm the one. Because I dedicated most of my life to figuring out reality. It takes into account conspiracy theories. It takes into account parts of flat Earth where space might not exist. It takes apart mentalism as opposed to materialism, the double slit. It's a collage of just different shit.
Okay, and you don't think that... Go ahead.
Most people adhere to a prepackaged belief system. It's either religion, Christianity, science, atheism. They're all prepackaged, but I pull from all.
Okay, but in fairness, if we're a hallucination, didn't that just there's no control over that, right? Because it's not really us that exists. We're just a part of something that is a dream. So how can people be blamed when they fall into things like Christianity or Buddhism when it's whoever is having this hallucination? It's not up to them. Like, we're not separate entities. We're all part of one collective. Why didn't the one collective reveal the truth to all of us?
I would say that one collective would be, from what I could tell, my own mind. I wouldn't say there was a God as a one. Oh, one collective? You mean like everybody?
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm just saying, like, if you believe that that we're a hallucination, right? That this is not, there's no reality. Like, this is all a dream.
A dimension of mind.
Okay, so when you say that, people fall into prepackaged religions, that's not really up to them, right? Because those prepackaged
Oh,
religions were
yeah.
created a long time ago by other hallucinations that,
Talking
that's
about
what
free will.
we could talk about free will. Do we have free will as a hallucination? Is it already determined for me what to play my part in the hallucination, or am I my own
Uh,
entity within the hallucination?
it's a minor detail, but all you really need to know is that there are things happening that's in front of consciousness. Consciousness is always watching shit happen. So there's always things happening around consciousness. And if you're gonna say this, argue free will or not, that's just a minor detail. They're just things happening.
But it's an interesting detail, right? Like,
I guess to some, I think it's unverifiable.
okay, it sounds to me like in hearing what you're saying, it sounds to me like what you're doing is you're sort of pulling the different parts from various different aspects of beliefs and like you said, conspiracy theories, and piecing together sort of your own your own unique way of looking at things. Because to me, like I've noticed, I think I could replace um, my consciousness with spirit. I think I could replace what you refer to as as us being gods as an actual god. And here we have the religion's tried and true format. You're just replacing the different figures and pieces with things that you either saw or you believe to be true.
I was very careful about the wording.
In what way?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say soul. Soul is religious.
Oh yeah, I'm not
I'm
saying
just
that you're. I'm not saying that you would, but what I'm saying, like religion has a like a format, right? It's a template.
yeah.
There's a
Yes,
God.
definitely.
There's a God. There are his creations. There's a place that you can go when you pass away, and then there's a connection between the God and his beings, right? So that connection, in your case, would be the consciousness, and like, isn't this just your standard religion, just with different characters?
Yeah, it's less brainwashy.
I'll give you that, but if everything's going to follow that template, doesn't that seem odd to you that keeps happening over and over again, like throughout history?
Oh, I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean.
Go ahead.
Like there's like you're saying that there's a truth to it or something because it's repeating or something.
I'm not saying there's a truth to it, but you seem to be like you're very like against traditional religions like Christianity. Maybe not against, but you feel like there's no basis to them, right?
There's a lot of baggage.
Okay, but in that baggage, the base pieces that makes up that religion are also the base pieces that make up your stance on things, just with different
Yeah.
names. They just have different names. So if you take all of that, like the fact that what you think that you have found leads to this model, and then your standard religions line up, they all share that same sort of framework. Don't you find that do you find that interesting that this theme is a constant throughout not only history but various
Yeah.
religions?
Well, all the religious themes are weaponized. They put God outside of you. Um, and also, I would subscribe to Hinduism, the most recent religion, Hinduism. But before Hinduism, you had your shamans, your atheistic shamans. And then after that, you had your Gnostics. Religion has evolved to Christianity today, which is pretty sad. I would take it back to the original source of the original source of the religion, where the first shaman ate a mushroom, and then had a spiritual experience from eating the mushroom, just a normal person. But that evolved into what I think called modern religion. I'm not going to take the modern version. I'm going to take the ancient version, the
Okay.
original.
So, if that's the case, like if you can track history, if you can go back to the first shaman that ate a mushroom to where we are today, why did this hallucination track that way? Like, why did our hallucinations all collectively create a world that operates the way that it does, and not like with wars and famine and stuff like that. Like, why are all of these, all of each one of us a hallucination, collectively experiencing these things when it seems to me like if we wanted to, we could create a different environment.
Yeah, I don't know how much. In order to create a different environment that we can all work together, we gotta free the ignorance. Most people have a lot of ignorant, have a veil of ignorance over them, and I can't verify the past. I can't even verify that the Earth was here before I was born. The environment tells me a story that the Earth was here before I was born. It does tell a story. Maybe the Earth was here before I was born. It doesn't mean the Earth was actually here before I was born.
Okay. What about animals? Are they conscious?
I can't verify it, but I would argue that animals have a level of consciousness.
Okay, and if that's the if like it does that go to all animals, like down to spiders and ticks, earthworms?
I feel like spiders. I feel like they have emotion and they have consciousness, but they have consciousness through the brain through the windows of a spider brain. Same consciousness, different window. You know, like Alice through the Looking Glass.
Yeah. So that's where I wanted to go with this. Okay, because you said like a spider brain. Why are they perceiving consciousness on a much scaled down basis than we are? Like, spiders can't drive a car or paint a picture. They just build a web, and they just exist, or they just eat and exist, really. So why are they getting the short end of the stick when it comes to consciousness, but yet we're able to figure this stuff out?
Spiders, I would argue that they're intelligent in their own way. I wouldn't say they're getting the short end of the stick. It may be that that we reincarnate randomly, but you're only going to be able to perceive what's through the window. So if you have a small camera lens, you're going to only see a small camera. If you have a color, you're only going to be able to perceive what your brain allows you to. It's a window.
Okay. What about like microscopic things like bacteria? That's alive. Are they conscious?
I can't verify if a bacteria is conscious or not. It may be that consciousness needs a brain to experience the simulation, or it may be that it's not, that the brain isn't a necessary component necessary to experience being a bacteria. That's unknowable. It's unknowable for me.
So when do we get our, like you said, you think that things might need a brain in order to experience the simulation. When we're born, when does that consciousness hit our brains to where we're able to start the simulation? Because, like, for example, if consciousness is like a Wi-Fi signal, and our brains are the device that's receiving, a child's brain develops over time, and then it can stay in the womb for well over when it's expected. Is it receiving the consciousness then, or when it actually starts breathing? How does that work?
I don't know, but it may be at the point where the colostrum is developed. The colostrum? Ever heard of it?
No.
It's a part of the brain that some scientists believe is the on-off switch for consciousness. But I don't know when a baby becomes conscious. But I'm pretty sure I could feel being aborted.
Okay. Do you believe in? I've just got a couple more questions, and then because I know it's late.
Okay.
But do you believe in the concept of time?
Yeah, time exists, but it's an illusion.
So I mean, like, as a hallucination, are we really living or existing for 100 years, or as what we consider our lifespan to whatever the entity is it like an 8-hour night's sleep?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so for example, we've established that we are gods in this analogy, having a hallucination. right? So my hallucination, wherever I am, I'm hallucinating. Is the length of that hallucination equivalent to what I consider my lifetime?
Oh, I
So,
don't know.
okay, that's fair enough. So, people who are watching this, who say that this is absolutely crazy, there's no way this can be um, true. What is the benefit of you knowing this? And um, how does it change things if we're just destined to be hallucinations?
It doesn't really benefit anybody actually, but it could be argued it doesn't benefit them at all. But I find knowing myself to be interesting. If I'm eternal, I want to know about it.
Okay, so but you're no longer you, what happens to that information?
I'll probably forget it.
Isn't that sort of I'm trying to think how to word this. Do you think that do you genuinely believe this 100%, or you just this is your best guess? Like, are you convinced that this is reality? Or I mean, like, what you're describing is actual reality?
It's reality. I wouldn't argue that it's real.
But
It's art. It's art.
yeah, go ahead.
I would argue it's an illusion, and that we make it real.
I mean, like, like, how confident are you that this is the truth?
I debated a lot, but I deduce it from like abiogenesis, the Big Bang, and all that stuff. But I've seen the truth, and it's gonna be hard for me to forget it, to unsee the truth. And I won't be able to convince anybody because it took me a lifetime to figure it out, and I wouldn't expect anybody else to believe it.
When you talk
This is real
about,
simulation.
yeah, but like,
This is real. This is not just.
so that brings up an interesting point, though. Does truth really exist? Like, if we're a hallucination, um, we're all at the mercy of. I mean, I don't even know how you would. I don't even know how you would. It's hard to make analogies here, but truth or lies or things that are false. Like, there is no such thing as truth because we ourselves aren't real. We're hallucinations, right?
The only truth may be that consciousness is eternal, and it perceives wherever the fuck it conjures up. It's magic, essentially. But I think all
how can we know that, though? Like, how can we? How will we ever know this? And what is the point? Like, let me ask you this: what is the point of whatever's having the hallucination? Like, if we're just a hallucination, to what end are we? Like, what is the entire reason for all of this?
Would you rather look at a blank TV screen or a movie?
But I'm saying the thing that frustrated. I'm hearing the echo again.
To pacify ourselves.
Hold on one second. Joe. I just wanted to frustrated. Wanted to ask one question.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You want to ask like an hour ago.
I'm still hearing a really bad echo from him. Are you hearing that, Joe? Do you hear the echo?
Yeah, but maybe we could just bear through it.
I don't want to put that. I don't want to do that to the audience. I tell you what.
What about now?
Yeah.
You can still hear echo?
Yeah. It's
Shit.
I tell you what. Frustrated. I'm gonna give you my. I'm gonna give you my cell phone number.
Okay.
Call me and I'll put you on speaker.
Okay.
All right. Let me give him that. Joe, anything you want to say about what we've talked about to people who I know we're going to be very skeptical.
Yeah, I got something to say.
Sure.
It may be an unfalsifiable claim that consciousness is an eternal perceiver, but honestly, if you really think about it, in my opinion, abiogenesis is an equally unfalsifiable claim. So either side you want to believe, it's going to have its own flaws either way.
But to go in on that, abiogenesis didn't really exist in your.
It didn't have to exist.
Right, but what I'm saying is, whether it did or didn't doesn't really matter, right? Because we're just hallucinations. Like we don't, like you said, you weren't here before or at the time of, like, let's say dinosaurs, so you can't verify that. So how can you even verify there was anything before you? Like, what if you maybe have just designed by someone in a lab?
It's like playing a video game. What's the point of the video game? Finding clues in your video game. It's all just a simulation anyways. It's all whatever you make of it.
Hello?
Hey, I got you on speaker now.
Awesome. And he can hear me now?
Can you hear him, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Awesome. So, I have to ask him, does he know how classification systems work?
Yeah, I got it right here. Nested hierarchies.
You know, I can't even hear what he...
Nested hierarchies.
Oh,
This poster right here.
yeah. He can't.
Yeah, I've got the feed up now. That it's going to be delayed for me, but...
Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay. See if you can. Joe, say something.
Hello, how are you doing? I'm fine, thank you very much.
Are you able to hear that?
Hello.
No, I wasn't.
Say something now, Joe.
Hi, how are you? I'm feeling fine, thank you
there
for
we
asking.
Go, there we go.
Okay.
All right, so the thing is you're still not seeming to quite understand it. That's the thing. That's the issue here, because
Sure.
we have because whenever you go on to talk about the eukaryotes and all that stuff, and how we share certain traits and certain inherited traits from previous generations, you were still saying that this doesn't prove anything. When it comes to classification systems, we know that creatures belong to certain, hierarchies.
Categories.
Because of these traits that they inherit.
They're right here.
Like, we all have, the eukaryote trait within us, because we are eukaryotes, and that separates us from other things that don't have the eukaryotes. So if you sit there and you dwindle down certain traits, you can figure out how things actually become, or classified. And I may not be explaining this properly, but
Hold on, Joe. Frustrated. Are you able to see your screen? No, you can hold it up there, Joe. I just want to make sure that he's looking at the screen to see what you're holding up. Are you able to see that, Frustrated?
Give me a second. My thing's loading up again. I took off the screen off my tablet.
Yeah, pull that back up, because he wants to show you the chart that he's got.
Okay.
And see if that.
Can you read the words?
He's got. Give him 1 second. We're delayed because he's not in the call, so he's like 20 seconds behind us. So give him just a second.
Yeah,
Just hold
I
up.
can't seem to get it straight. What the fuck?
Is it?
Okay, I see the thing holding up.
So it's going from the overall life all the way down to a human, specifically to a human. It starts off, the nested orchard life starts off with eukaryote, then to animal, then to vertebrates, and to mammal. It's pretty simplified, but yeah, this is how nature organized life. It could be that we all evolved this way, or it could be that this is just how nature organized it.
What do you mean by the way nature organized it?
If we're in a simulation, you could have made it ambiguous. Because I can interpret that two different ways. I could say, well, we all evolved from a microbe, or that's just how nature made that's just how we can organize all of nature's kinds.
Okay, as far as you're getting into this whole entire simulation type of crap, I really don't care, because regardless if reality is in fact true or if it is a simulation, makes no difference to me about how I live my life. So that I can really care less about. But what I'm saying is how do you know, what do you mean by the way nature orders itself out?
I don't know, like the holodeck, you know?
I think
like,
let me see if I can help you, Joe. I think what he's saying
Yeah.
is that if we're a simulation, that means that it was put together, or we're hallucinating in a way that either that's how we got to being humans following that chart, or it's such that the hallucination is making us think that that's or come to the conclusion that that's how we arrived at humans. But it hinges, I think, on the simulation part of it, though. Frustrated, that's the crux of the issue. That's why I want to talk about it.
Well, the biggest thing is, if this is a simulation, why on earth would the simulation want us to think this?
Why on earth the simulation wouldn't want what?
Why would it want us to think that way?
To think what way?
That that's the way that we got here. Like, why would it? Why would it show us a way that shows us that we are especially unique, instead of showing us that we have all these traits that connect us with all these other different creatures, but say at the same time, oh no, you're not actually related? I think what he's asking is why do some people in the simulation think that we came from Adam and Eve? Why do some people think that evolution was the way that we got here? Why do some people think that that aliens dropped us in a volcano, and we for Scientology, like
I already know how Scientology got there.
Everybody's simulation is creating a different pathway of how we got to where we are.
And not only that, but also, why is it that the simulation? Why are we? If all these people are having all these different simulation theories, saying, oh, this is how we got here.
Yeah.
Why is the simulation? Why are we programmed to think that from the simulation? Why aren't we just?
I don't know.
Why don't we just know things?
Joe?
Wait, are you saying why is there so much ambiguity with the evidence?
No. Why does everybody have a different a different way of coming to the conclusions of how we got here? Like, why is the simulation giving everybody a different starting point?
I would say that your level in intelligence will adhere to certain models. So I would say my model is pretty sophisticated, and you have to have either actually put the effort into it or just be like kind of smart. I'm not trying to say anything bad or anything, and then if you want to see that this means they're all related, then that's like, I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying this is one interpretation of what could have happened. I don't think we actually could know.
I'd have a question about that, though, because you say that yours is sophisticated and smart.
I'm not trying to boast or anything. I don't know.
I know that you're not trying to brag or whatever. You're just saying that yours is on a different level. But you can't demonstrate or prove anything from your, like for example, I could make up something right now. I could create a not really a religion, but something off the top of my head, like to counter yours, like we
unfalsifiable.
Are, right, but so what would make yours either more sophisticated or more true than whatever I was able to make up?
I would say mine has less unexplained mysteries to it.
Yours, Joe, your entire thing is a mystery, man. Like every aspect of it is.
You have not been able to explain it to where we could get it at all.
Yeah, the whole thing's a mystery, Joe. What do you mean?
Well, consciousness is a mystery, yes.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Frustrated. Do you have anything? I'm gonna wrap up because it's getting late. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
There's oh my. You know what? No, I have nothing else I could possibly ever think that will help me understand any of this whatsoever.
Go drink ayahuasca. Frustrated.
It could take years.
It can take years, and you need to go drink ayahuasca. Maybe that'll.
What the fuck is ayahuasca?
It's a root, right, Joe?
It depends. It's a blend of two different leaves, a vine and a leaf, and they boil it together.
Yeah. It makes you. It's like it gives you the same sort of thing. It actually is DMT, right? That's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's DMT.
And it's legal.
DMT, psychedelics.
Oh, no. Look, I got shit I gotta get done throughout the day, so I think I'm good on.
You can change your name from frustrated atheist to psychedelic atheist.
Right?
Me?
Probably fucking seeing everything.
All right, frustrated. Thanks for coming on. I'm gonna hang up so I can get my hands back and all that.
Alrighty.
All right, see you. All right, Joe. Thanks for having a conversation with me. I find you fascinating in what you come down on, and the sort of the positions that you hold. Do you want to tell people about Virtual Maya?
Yeah, it just if you want to see that video about the Bardo, I will make it unprivate so you can see it.
Okay.
And it's just a whole bunch of evolution videos, but I'm not trying to promote it here. But if you want to see more, then you can see more of me.
So you can promote it. You can tell people where to go and all that. Go ahead.
All right. I'll do that right now. If you want to see the Bardo video, it's only 2 minutes. Watch it all the way through because the good stuff's at the end.
Okay.
And I'll do that right now.
All right. And Joe, do you I had a wrap up question I was going to ask you, but it slipped my mind. My hallucination is what was I going to ask you? Virtual Maya.
You could probably link. You could probably link my Virtual Maya account in the description box.
Yeah, I'll do that.
See, it has an Indian on there, a Native American Indian.
Yeah.
In a simulation. That's how you know.
Okay. You're I swear I can't remember. Let me pull up Super Chats while I think. Again, got people who didn't see the previous show. August the 6th is when we will be back on a regular schedule. I'll be back intermittently between then on Sundays with Mr. Atheist and doing our regular show. But on August the 6th, we'll be back to a full schedule. Let me pull up your Super Chats real quick. Private hangout this weekend for patrons. That will be at 4 o'clock on Discord. And okay, just one question for you, Joe. Sigfrido Serbia says, "Is what he says a hallucination, and why believe it?" Yeah. So he wants to know if you could be hallucinating about hallucinations.
Like if my brain is wired to think a certain way, and that's just what I think. I guess it's an unknowable minor detail.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again. Thanks again, Joe. I will see you guys on Sunday. I hope you have a good rest of your week and weekend. I will be turning the Illuminati 33 the day after tomorrow, so I'm depressed about that. But
I drank ayahuasca on my 33rd birthday at the church.
When's the last time you drank ayahuasca?
Right about 5 months ago.
When's the next time you're going to?
I don't know. Maybe next first and third Saturday of every month. So maybe coming up, they want me back, but my wife just bought a camper, and I can't afford the $95 a month to go twice a month there.
Does your wife do ayahuasca too?
No,
No. Okay.
it's not fun. Well, it can be, but not. It's not for fun.
Why
It's
do
pretty
it then?
scary
Why do it then?
to crack the matrix. It can be fun, actually. It can be.
Well, if you crack the matrix, then I want you to announce those results with us here. So you keep me abreast and let me know when that winds up happening.
All right, we could have talked about the double slit experiment, but we forgot.
I'll have you back
All right.
on, and we'll do that.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Sunday at 8 o'clock with me and Mr. Atheist. And check out, if you want to see the truth and the matrix being cracked, then you can follow Joe at Virtual Maya, and I'm sure Joe will keep you updated on that. See you Sunday.